The recent development of Black Clover, the manga, has been pretty interesting with the shift back to the Black Clover Kingdom. I enjoyed all the last chapters leading up to this. The last chapter gave us pretty much the focus was the confrontation on Noelle against her mother, giving us some family drama and letting her siblings look like scrap. A big surprise, giving clarification on her not being in a contract or in an alliance with Undyne, the water spirit. And Tabata pretty much pulled out a rabbit out of the hat and introduced or reintroduced the sea god, which was something that was kind of alluded to in the water temple arc. I don't know how many chapters back ago, but I think there was some reference to a sea god or sea serpent, and Noelle's iconic attack being that water dragon attack of hers. This is something I didn't expect, and I don't know if that was really well telegraphed, if that's really something that the story built up to. But nevertheless, I think it's a welcome power up for Noelle. This character, this entity, the sea god, seems to be a bit different from a spirit, as the story pretty clearly pointed out there to be four elemental spirits. The four spirits in the Black Clover world being for fire, salamander, for water, Undine or Undyne, for wind, Sylph, who's in a contract with Yuno, and then not shown so far, I think the name was Gnome. And there seem to be other spirits, but not necessarily being part of this group of central elemental spirits. But there was this one forest spirit that was briefly shown in between before the main cast, the heroes, the Clover Kingdom raided the Spade Kingdom. But this entity, at least in the translations we get so far, is called to be a god, and when it is stated that he's looking for a mage capable enough to go into a contract in an alliance with him, akin to a spirit, it's really tricky to judge this one. Might be semantics, might be due to poor translations. These are not official translations. It's the manga, the author writes it in Japanese, of course, and there can be things lost in translation. But to me, it seems interesting that it is kind of highlighted, even though inexplicitly, that this is not a spirit, that this seems to be a different type of entity in the world of the Black Clover universe. This opens up possibilities. This makes me think that there are other such entities, other kinds of gods or spirit beings that hold the title of god. And then there's the question, what are they? Are they different in nature, or are they also just spirits? And is there a hierarchy of spirits? Are there other spirits aside from the four base of the four elemental spirits, like the one we've seen, like the forest spirit? Is it possible for other characters to go into alliances, into contracts with these spirits? Now this sea god got a name. The name is Leviathan or Leviathan. So Leviathan is basically a mythological being that has been referenced in different Abrahamic religious texts, in Hebrew texts, in basically in the Old Testament of the Bible, relevant in Gnosticism, and I think there's also a similar being, a similar entity in Greek mythology. So it is a being, a sea serpent that is that's very prevalent, and interesting to see there are many myths, legends, and religious beings, mythological beings all around the world in different cultures or religions that share similarities. So dragons in general are very common, reoccurring theme, are reoccurring beings, mythological beings, all throughout to Europe, Asia, all the way to East Asia, and depicted slightly different, but serpents, legged serpents, dragons, sea serpents are a reoccurring theme. And I really like the design. I really think it looks dope. It looks a bit chunky. It reminds me a bit of the boss from the Final Fantasy series, the Sin, this giant whale, the way the head looks. And it looks ginormous, as we can see it being in the background, standing in front of the three characters, Noel and the other two. But then, a page and a half later, we see it shrunk down to a miniature version, kind of similar to devils. This seems to be different to spirits. Well, thinking about it, Salamander, the fire spirit, seems to be also slightly miniaturized compared to its large true form. But basically most of the spirits seem to not change in shape, or not much in shape, at least not much in design, when they're attached or in contract with a mage. Sylph basically stays her shape she is. She's that small fist-sized fairy. Yes, Salamander seems to shrink, but doesn't change in design much. And Undine, or Undine, I can't settle on how to pronounce the name. She also doesn't seem to change much in appearance throughout, being in a contract, in a bind with a mage, being it a Lolopechka or Noel. This seems to be different for Leviathan, for the sea god, who has much more of a cutified miniature design, drastically simplified, looking more like a baby dragon sitting on Noel's shoulder, and her transforming into a new Valkyrie. Armor, I think it looks nice, it looks kind of cool. How strong it is and how it fares and stands up against her mother and a devil host, or should I say by that name, angel host, we'll see. The last chapters are all a bit of a back and forth between different scenarios, different situations, trying to highlight different fights between the knights, the magic knights of the Clover Kingdom, between the good guys and the bad guys, the adversaries, the angels, Lucius' army, which mostly consists of, or exclusively consists of, himself and devil host made reincarnated former characters that are just strong and more or less relevant. So we had a few matchups. We had the Morris versus Leona. We had the Lucius, the main baddie, versus Yuno matchup for Yami and Jack. And now we had this chapter. We had Noelle against her mother. Of course, this one being more iconic due to their family relationship. I felt a little bit fed up. I felt a little bit hung up on this whole Asta being stranded in this Sengoku style Japanese isekai world, which was basically Asta's training arc. So I think we can all see Asta's probably still training and improving a little bit off screen, while we see some other battles unfold, and then maybe 2 or 3 chapters from now, when the stakes are at odds and everything looks bad and lost and Lucius looks like he's winning, we'll probably see Asta coming in with his anti-magic and bam, like negating a spell or slashing Lucius in half or some dope stuff like this. So that's probably something we can look forward to in the next 2-3 chapters. Aside from that, I think there is not so much to theorize about for the next chapter, for the imminent future of the following chapters. In my long-term prediction, I'm still kind of split whether or not Lucius is actually the final adversary, the final opponent. He is a very fitting opponent, but it makes it just seem all too easy in terms of progression. Lucius is the mastermind, one of the Zogratis siblings, the oldest one, orchestrated everything, orchestrated his siblings to become devil host himself, gained the time magic, became the wizard king of the Clover Kingdom, tricked the reader, tricked the members of the Clover Kingdom, the Magic Knights and everyone, and basically orchestrated the other side of the cast of the story of Black Clover, orchestrated Asta, was scheming, the mastermind, and I feel Tabata might pull a Madara Uchiha on us, the reader, making Lucius kinda akin to Madara Uchiha, being seemingly the mastermind, but ultimately being used by the powers that he tries to make use of. So I feel we just haven't gotten enough of the devils yet, specifically the devils that Lucius is in contract with, the Time Devil, Astaros, and it's kind of interesting, or more than interesting. It is almost pressing that his name is pretty much includes Asta's name, Asta Ross, and Asta being born without magic, no magic at all. Like, he's a once in a lifetime single case in that Black Clover universe. So I think there is still some explanation due. There is still some explanation left to do, how there's a relationship, a possible relationship, why Asta specifically has no magic, what's the relationship to the mother, why she gave Asta away, and I kind of have a gut feeling that Lucius might just be a step in between, and the true baddie, the true final villain of this arc might not be Lucius, but his devil unleashed, the Time Devil Astaros. Stay tuned, and thank you for watching. Leave a like, leave a subscribe. See you.